Okay, I have my dashboard back to the default layout here. Hopefully no worries. And I just thought of something. I don't think I mentioned this earlier. Maybe I did. I'm not sure, but I will mention it now. When you set up a brand new, fresh, vanilla installation of WordPress, you're given some content by default. There's already a default post and a default page and category, and there's also a default comment as well. So you have a little bit to kind of get started, and you can, of course, remove this default content once you actually start creating real posts and so on. So we'll talk about that later. But so in other words, on the live blog, you'll have this hello world, welcome to WordPress. This is your first WordPress post. You can edit it or delete it and then start blogging. And I can see here there's one comment on this post. So anyway, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to mention about our 5-cent tour of the WordPress interface is this massive menu going down the left-hand side. And this is really like your main navigation menu. And there's lots and lots to see in here. And it's easy to get overwhelmed, by the way, by the number of options we have inside all these menus and all the different content and so on. So let's do a real quick sort of click through here. So I'm going to click on Posts. And that brings me into this Edit Posts screen. And there's that default Hello World post, and I can tell who the author was and what it's categorized under and the date that it was initially published and so on. So when we actually start, working on our blog, creating posts and, creating our content and so on, we're going to see this huge list of posts. And on my blog, 10tonbooks.com, I have so many posts that it actually breaks into, I think it's, 3 or 4 pages. So you're going to have this massive list of posts here. And I can click on Hello World, and I can come in here and I can edit this post if I want. Now I'm inside the Edit Post screen you can see at the top here. If you ever get lost, just look up at the top and you'll know where you are inside the interface. Okay, so again, when I click on Posts, it brings me into a list of all of my posts. This screen here that I see is the same as clicking on the first menu item there, Edit. And then I could go into Add New if I want to go and create a new post. We'll definitely talk about that. We have post tags and categories. You can click on those guys if you want and kind of get a quick look at those screens. So hopefully no big deal. I'm just going to go and collapse posts there just by clicking on that arrow. And then we have media. So we're going to talk a lot about media and working with video and working with images and all that good stuff. When I click on media, that brings me into the media library. Again, so how it works, by the way, is when you click on this top menu item, it brings you into the first submenu item. That's the idea here. So anyway, as you can see, there's nothing inside my media library at this point. So we'd have to go and add in some content by clicking on Add New, and we can go and upload some content if we want, that kind of thing. So anyway, hopefully all good. We'll definitely get into working with media. Links, you can dig into links. This is what's also referred to as a blog roll or your site's blog roll. We'll talk about that. You can click through some of these if you want. We have pages, and I'm not going to get into it now, but we'll talk about the differences between pages and posts, and you'll see we have a default page here called About, and it looks very similar to our post page that we just saw a moment ago. So anyway, hopefully all good there. Comments, you can click on comments, and you can come in here to moderate your comments. Talk about that. Appearance. Now, you know what? I'm going to show you this. I'm going to expand the appearance menu, and then I'm going to go into themes. Now, the reason why I want to slow it down here and talk about appearance for a second is this is where the cool stuff is. I love the appearance category because what I can do here is I can come in and change my WordPress theme. And if you're not sure what a WordPress theme is, essentially what it is, if you want a technical answer, what it is it's a set of PHP files that are under the control of a cascading style sheet file or a CSS file, and that drives the look and feel of your blog. It drives the formatting, the design of your blog. So the blue and the blue hyperlinks and the fonts that are being used and all that good stuff, right? So we'll talk about working with some different themes as we go along. Then we get into something called widgets, which are extremely cool, and I'm not even going to attempt to explain what they are at this point because we're so new to the WordPress game here, but we will get into this, absolutely. And then I love this. This may freak you out. We have a built-in code editor inside WordPress, which is awesome. So you can come in here and you can start messing around with code. Here what I'm doing is I'm looking at an external style sheet file, an external CSS file. But you can see over on the right-hand side, maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself, but you can see all of the PHP files that are a part of the current theme. So say, for example, I want to go and edit the header.php file. I can click on that guy on the right-hand side. That loads them into this screen here, and I can go and start changing things inside the code here. I can get in there, start rocking along, customizing things, all the rest of it. So anyway, all built into the WordPress admin interface, which is awesome. So anyway, I probably just scared the heck out of you by showing you code. But anyway, hopefully all good. We have some other things here, add new themes and custom header. We'll get into that. You've got plugins. We will definitely talk about plugins and how we can use plugins to extend WordPress, to further customize our blog, to get our blog functionality happening the way we want. So we'll talk about that. Users. We can add in additional users for our blog. Maybe we want to have some guest authors or other people that have administration privileges for our blog. You can get into that. Tools, and then finally settings. And what you'll find underneath settings is some options, some settings for sort of customizing our blog. For example, permalinks. We'll talk about permalinks. You can set your reading settings, for example, as well, and so on. So I know it's short and sweet. I know it's down and dirty, but hopefully this has given you kind of a half-decent idea of how the back end kind of functions and works. If you want, spend some time, click around, see what's what, kind of mess around a little bit. And don't forget, if you want to get back to the dashboard where you and I started, all the way up at the top of the left-hand menu, click on Dashboard, brings you back here.